Hi everyone, welcome back to our memoir challenge video. This is video number 2 for the second day of our memoir challenge. Today's writing prompt was places of significance. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm also going to, after this video is over, I'm going to follow it up with a video from yesterday for anybody who might have missed it. Yesterday's theme was childhood best friend, and we got some really good stories from that. So, start off with, we're going to go back to Miss Joanne Ingles' story because she wrote, like I said, she wrote quite a few pages. And yesterday, her story was focusing more on her relationship with her dad. And today we're going to go into a significant place, which was her school. Okay. I was a good student in high school, and one of my teachers recommended I go to college. I always thought I would like to become a nurse when I grew up. There was a small college in Alfred, New York, and I liked the idea of going to a small school. I applied and was accepted. It was idyllic for me, and I lived in a dorm my first year. I met the dean of nursing, and she lived in Buffalo, so she would pick me up and drop me off at my freshman dorm. My roommate was the daughter of a doctor, and she studied all the time. She was a good influence on me. She was in competition with her brother, who was a surgeon, and she was the runt of the family. I noticed my husband to be in the front row of my English class. He had a girlfriend, and the teacher would tease them in class. His girlfriend did not pass her grades and left school. The nursing students were in college and in our first and second year. We then went to fill out an application to go on to the Willard State Hospital with all locked wards. On our first day, we were given a repetto put around the waist, or a rope put around our waist with keys to let us into the locked wards. We lived in a dorm with bars on the windows and kept the rooms locked. Our second affiliation week was in Syracuse, New York for pediatrics, which we all enjoyed very much. We then went to Scranton, Pennsylvania and lived in the YWCA and did home nursing. We had to take public transportation and did not have our own cars. Sometimes the milk truck would pick us up on the bus as it was very hilly there. All of us became very good friends and keep in touch with each other and have get-togethers. We spent our last year on campus and invited my husband to come, and then I invited my husband to come home with me. 2 exclamation points after that one. So Joanne, Miss Joanne Ingle, I used to have a resident named Barbara Ingle, so I'm sorry I get that mixed up. Joanne, I know who you are. Joanne was kind enough to bring by an amazing enlarged scrapbook from her college days at Alfred University. Now this was her special place. This was the place of significance for her. And, you know, she shared a lot of really great memories in here of her time in college. I think that's really special. It's definitely a time in your life that kind of defines the rest of how your life's going to be and how it's going to look, and the memories you make there clearly last a lifetime. So thank you so much, Joanne, for this wonderful book of photos that I have been looking through. It's been really fun. Sorry, my phone's very precarious, balanced on top of my computer, so I apologize for the crooked frame, but I'm not going to fix it. Okay, and this is a sneak peek for tomorrow because Joanne's story is going to continue into a love story, but look at this. Look at that photo. How sweet is that? That's from her wedding. So thank you so much, Miss Joanne Ingle, for that story. Our next story is from Miss Marilyn Miller. In 1981, Jerry and I would be celebrating our 25th wedding anniversary on June 21st. That spring, we were trying to decide where to go. Jerry wanted Hawaii, but I had no desire to go there. I wanted Switzerland, but our 2 children were in college, so that was out. He came home from work one day and said, "What about Hilton Head?" My response was, "Where's that?" He said, on the ocean in South Carolina. They had lots of golf courses. Oh, you'd love that, being on the beach. So there would be sun for me. So I agreed. He made some hotel reservations and we invited my sister Carolyn and brother-in-law to join us. Our hotel, which is now a Marriott, was mid-island. We had a wonderful week and fell in love with Hilton Head. We went back every summer I could, being in education. About our second trip, I said he made reservations. I said he had made reservations at the Holiday Inn when we had returned. That was on the south end and loaded with tourists. He ended up buying timeshares. The first was in June. By year 2000, we had 12 weeks of timeshares, all in Hilton Head and Mid-Island. Everywhere from the end of January to mid-March. I never went anywhere else on vacation. I now regret it when Carolyn talks about traveling like they did. However, it provided a room for me for 18 years after Jerry died in 2000. I left to come to the Windsor in July 2019. This is the best decision I could have ever made. Of course, having Carolyn already here also helped me make my decision. When in April 2019, I came to select my apartment and make my deposit. Marilyn Miller. That's sweet. Thank you, Marilyn, for that story. I've heard Hilton Head is amazing. I've never been, but now I want to go. Okay. Next one is short and sweet. This is from Miss Betty Lebsock. Places of significance. When we were married in the Methodist Church in Denver, Colorado on August 28, 1949. Also, when Bill returned from the Korean War, he was safe and in one piece. We were both so happy. I was working as a secretary at Sawyer Brothers Luggage. My mother and father had already flown to San Francisco to meet his ship. They called me to say his ship was in the harbor and I should be there. I flew out to meet him. What joy. Betty Lovesock. Thank you, Betty. That was lovely. All right. Moving on. So this last story we have today, this is from Nurse Linda L. Vermette. Yeah, she's got a good one and there's pictures, so get excited. Places of significance. During my married life, the Vermette family moved 8 times because of promotions my husband Fred received at Friendly's Ice Cream. Our first move in the late 70s was to Leominster, I probably mispronounced that, sorry Linda, Leominster, Massachusetts, home of Foster Grant glassware, Tupperware, and the first plastic pink flamingo lawn ornament. Yes, in Massachusetts, not Florida. There we lived with our flamingo in the snow during the winter months. Our next move was to Framingham, Massachusetts. Framingham had the first suburban shopping mall, Shoppers World, where Friendly's flourished, sponsoring large events large events for muscular dystrophy and featuring strawberry shortcake with my husband and my daughters. Next move was to Richmond, Virginia to open the first Friendly's. There we learned the art of catching crabs on the Chesapeake Bay. Gotcha, Linda, sorry. I had my first involvement with senior living at Lakewood Manor, a 300 plus seniors in a lifetime care community, and included a skilled nursing center. The buy-in cost at the time was $200,000. I was also the clinic nurse there too. Then off we went to Baltimore, Maryland. My husband was now a regional HR director for the region. Well, we lived in Churchville, Maryland, just outside of Aberdeen province. Aberdeen proving grounds for weapons and ammunition for the Army. This was the late 80s, when I had opened the first assisted living in the area as DON in Forest Hill, Maryland, a 129-bed community. Our next move was a change in job to work at the Thousand Trails Camping. So off we moved to the Poconos. The mountains of the Poconos averaged 100 inches of snow yearly. Next adventure brought us to the eastern shore of Virginia. We lived on a peninsula of an 800-acre campground surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean. This was where I was introduced to my first outhouse. I worked as a home health nurse in a very rural and impoverished area. Last of our moves brought us to Florida. Fred as a responsive operations manager. We moved here in 2004 and were quickly introduced to the disastrous hurricanes that year. Fred has retired, and I have been involved with 3 ALs before, and I was involved with 3 assisted livings before coming to Windsor. So, Linda gave us some pictures, although I'm not sure. Oh my gosh, it's Fred! Okay, so here's a little family picture. Can you guess which one's Fred? I'll give you a hint. He has a mustache. Oh, and here's Fred with some geese. Oh, and here's Linda's girls. The art of crab catching. That sentence that I had such a hard time reading. Here they are catching those crabs. And this, oh, it's a postcard. So this is a postcard of a retirement community, the Lakewood Manor, that big one that Linda was DON over. And this last one, this is from the campground. And she's put little tabs where things were. So here's the pool. There's the fishing dock. And up here was check-in. And you can ask Ashley Alvarez and Linda Vermette about their experiences at the campground. I only recently found out that they lived there for a while, and there are quite a few fun stories from that time of their life. So thank you so much, Linda, for sharing that. I really appreciate all the stories today, and I'm sorry for stumbling over the words. But part of that makes it more authentic. I'm not rehearsing anything. This is my first reaction to reading these great stories and seeing these wonderful pictures. Oh, I have one more. Shoot. Hold, please. As Ashley would say. I have one more. From our wonderful life enrichment coordinator, Emily Daniel. Every year, for as long as I can remember, my family would spend our summers at Aqua Vista Campground. The tradition started when my older cousin Tara was only 2 years old, and not long after my aunt and uncle got their trailer up there, my parents got their own. Aqua Vista was the absolute coolest place to be as a kid. There was always something to do. My sister and I would ride our bikes around for hours just up and down the roads, or we would ride along the hay ride, something the owner did a couple times a day for all the kids. We also spent a lot of time on the playground, swinging on the swings or playing in the sandbox. We could play arcade games in the lower rec hall or play billiards. We also loaded up on the candy and slushies they sold. When it got hot, we could swim in the pool or down in the creek. When the current was really good, we would go tubing down the river to the Green Bridge and then walk our way back up to the camp. If we passed the cornfields, we went too far. Weekends were especially fun. Friday nights were for bingo, which we would occasionally attend with our mom and aunt. Every Saturday and Sunday night, there would be dances in the uphill rec hall. We would all get dressed up with our friends. We would do our hair and makeup and walk up together. We'd scope out the boys and try to get them to slow dance with us. My first boyfriend was someone a friend of mine set me up with. Essentially, He walked up to him, asked if he thought I was cute, and deemed him my boyfriend. I didn't even know him. That was an awkward summer. My favorite memories there are the times we spent at Clay Wall. If we crossed the creek into the woods and walked for about 20 minutes, there was a large clay sediment area. It was the perfect texture to rub all over your arms and legs or to make sculptures. Once we got a big group of friends up there and had a clay fight. It was so much fun, and afterwards we all went to the creek to wash off together. Night times were always spent around the fire. S'mores were an essential snack, along with chips and dip and cheese and crackers. We played so many games and sang songs or told stories. We would stay out for hours long after the adults went to bed and the stars had come out. Aqua Vista was a second home to me and will always hold a special place in my heart. Thank you, Emily, for sharing that. So that is officially it for today. Those are our stories of places of significance. So I hope this inspired you. If it did, please write to me. Even if you have something, maybe you forgot, or maybe something just came to you and you just remembered a place of significance you want to write about, or about a childhood best friend, I'll read those stories later in the week. I just want to hear your stories. So send them my way. If you don't see me and you want to do a handwritten note, hand it off to Ashley, hand it to the front desk. It'll find its way to me. So yeah, until next time, I will see all of you tomorrow. Tomorrow's theme, everyone get really excited. Tomorrow is family dynamics. So, could be really good or really awkward. Either way, I'm excited. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye.